Alrighty, another video response, this time to Brian the Grouch. So this comment was a response to a statement made by Mr. S. Mr. S, he stated the following. It was about suffering, probably. So the best way to prevent it in the first place is to not create new beings. And so then Brian the Grouch responded, okay, and I'm gonna read the whole comment and then I'm going to give you my response. So, okay, and you can let every single person on the planet know about anti-natalism philosophy, and most people won't care, will do nothing about it, probably won't even have the intellect to comprehend it. And you'll just continue crying about suffering in the YouTube comment section. You can be right 100% of the time, yet nothing will change, which is something anti-natalism seems to be unable to accept. All of the arguments I've heard about anti-natalism not be futile or lame and huge copes. Do you really think if you keep talking about anti-natalism on YouTube that there will be some sort of societal shift eventually? LOL. Okay, so this is my reaction. Okay, I agree that it is impossible to convince the entire world to convert to the anti-natalism philosophy. But isn't that true for basically every other philosophy? It's impossible to convince the entire world of any philosophy. There exists thousands of philosophies and none of them will control the entire world. Well, okay, there exists quite a few powerful ones, such as capitalism and communism, but these economical systems were not constructed with the permission of the majority of the population. They were constructed by a small group called the elite. There are still a lot of people who disagree with capitalism and with communism. In fact, there are a lot of people who disagree with every philosophy that exists. And yes, there are probably a lot more people who will disagree with anti-natalism than with capitalism. But the least thing we can do is try to bring up the anti-natalism philosophy to the public as much as possible. I mean, that's another basic philosophy that everybody will tell you. It's not because it's impossible to persuade the whole world of your philosophy that you should give up trying. You know, this is what every successful person will tell you. Keep persevering. You can fail 1,000 times, but at the end lies success. Or maybe not, but at least you've tried. Never give up. Always pursue your passion, no matter what your passion is. And if we are able to convince a handful of people to stop reproducing, then the anti-natalism philosophy is at least a little bit successful. And even if I personally would stop spreading the anti-natalism philosophy and just continue living a normal life, there would still be other people spreading anti-natalism, whether you like it or not. You, Brian the Grouch, are saying that anti-natalists are crying about suffering and that it's pointless because nobody will change. Well, guess what? You are crying about anti-natalists crying about suffering. But most anti-natalists will always continue to cry about suffering. So the fact that you are crying about anti-natalists is also pointless because most anti-natalists will also never change. So now what? Anti-natalists whining about natalists is pointless, but natalists whining about anti-natalists is also pointless. It's all pointless. It doesn't matter who is whining about who. Every single philosophy will continue to exist and everybody will continue to whine about everything until we finally go extinct. And then finally there will be peace. And it's precisely this state of peace that antinatalism is pursuing. Because within life, we continue to complain about everything that we subjectively don't like. And it's this subjective disagreement that is responsible for so much suffering because it makes us angry, frustrated, and violent. It makes us do a lot of nasty, evil stuff to each other. And that's what antinatalism wants to prevent. But whatever, this argument will be pointless for the majority of people, but it might convince a few people, and that's fine for me. Even if it's only a few, it will motivate me to try to convince a few more, and a few more, and a few more. You never know how many people will be convinced if you keep trying to spread your philosophy your whole life. So that's it for